What's up, Average Dad fans, you big beautiful bastards? How's it going? This is the Huawei Pura X Max, and this is a full review. Let's go! So I have a lot to get through in this video, so I will try to keep everything short and concise. I did do a first impressions of this absolute stunner just a couple of weeks ago, but anyone that remembers will know I gave this a 5 out of 10 rating, which I do believe is one of the lowest scores I've ever given any Huawei. And unfortunately, while using it for a further 2 weeks, the figure hasn't changed. While there are some really good positives about this device, the negatives, the issues, just outweigh them for me. So, let's start with a subjective area and talk about design. The design of the Pura X Max is stunning. Straight out the box, this is an immaculately beautiful piece. It's striking in the purple colour that I've got, the orange that's available, the white. However, when you use the phone once, straight away, you get fingerprints and smudges. That seemed to never go away. One of the many thumbnails I took before settling on the eventual one, thumbprints, smudges, dust. This is an absolute magnet. And I know you might be thinking, well, aren't all phones like that? No, they're not, because generally there's maybe a frosted back, a different colour, a matte option, not glossy, a vegan leather option, not glossy glass. The Pura X Max is stunning, absolutely. Looks wise, like 10 out of 10. But in everyday practical usage, especially for someone that needs to get B-roll or thumbnails, absolute disaster. The original Pura X had other options like leather backs and those little patchwork style. That was stunning. I would take that on this all day long. So, again, it's subjective, but practically, everyday use, you better be okay with thumbprints. If your OCD is at all against smudging, yeah, this phone will not be for you. I mean, you can put the 35 pence case that's included. Another downside of the unboxing experience that you can see here. This case is not good. Like, this is a £1,700 smartphone. That should not be the case that's included. But we'll talk about the price soon. So that's like the really only subjective part of this video. The rest is really going to be kind of firm facts, specifications, and my use case scenario. Let's talk about a real positive at first. For me, this phone's form factor is either number one or number two. You've kind of got 4 options when it comes to foldable phones. You've got the Pura X Max, which is a stout, wide format foldable. You've got the Huawei Mate X-T, which is a tri-fold device. You've got the Huawei Mate X7, Z Fold 7, Oppo N6, which is a large square format foldable phone that is just like a normal phone when folded. And then you've got my least favourite, the Samsung Z Flip, the Motorola Razr Flip. Flip phones are fine for certain people, but if I'm buying a foldable phone, which I do regularly, I want my phone to be normal most of the time, and when I need it, get bigger. I don't want it to be small, and then when I need it, which is all the time, have to unfold it. It just seems kind of pointless. So, the Pura X Max for me is either number 1 or 2 in terms of form factor. I do think I prefer the trifold, and as the trifold gets bigger and better and thinner and lighter, that will overtake the market. Keep your eyes peeled later this year for the release of the Huawei Mate X-T2. Now, the form factor has a major positive. It's a 16:9 natural aspect ratio, which means viewing movies, TV shows, YouTube content is perfect. No big black bars. In fact, if you just pinch in ever so slightly, there are no black bars at all. Unlike on every other large format foldable phone, you get big black bars. They're non-existent here. However, outside of viewing movies and TV shows, you're going to want to perhaps peruse social media. In its landscape orientation, it's not great. But a simple turn of the phone, as you can see here, perusing YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, whatever it is you do, TikTok, perfect. This is the perfect screen to consume your Reels on a large canvas without black bars. So really, for all media consumption, this has been the best experience. Other than the speakers, definitely use headphones, but we'll talk about the speakers soon. Sticking with the form factor, it does have its downsides. While media consumption is, as explained, fantastic, web browsing, horrific. Multitasking, even worse. Web browsing, yes, you get a lot of words on a sentence, but you don't fit a lot on the page. Multitasking, yes, you can split the screen and have a floating window, but as you can see here, when you've got the screen split, both apps are just a bit too short, and woe betide you want to bring up a keyboard because that keyboard takes up half the screen. So your viewing window is now tiny, like a couple of inches. So, a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to form factor, but that goes for most foldable phones. The only one that kind of nails everything is the trifold. Because it's such a big canvas, multitasking is a dream. Viewing content is a dream because it's also a 16:9 aspect ratio. And if you want to browse the web, you flip that trifold round and you've got a massive canvas. So yeah, hence why the trifold's probably my favourite aspect ratio. Now, I did mention, just to finish off the media consumption, if you like, of this device, while using this phone day in, day out for a while, I just can't get over the speaker quality. I really, really expect more. And yes, it's a thin foldable phone, but it's thicker than the N6, it's thicker than the Mate XT, yet the speakers on both of these devices crush the Pura XMAGE. I don't know what's happened, what's going on. I know it's not just my unit. I have asked in the Huawei members group. Buy me a coffee, sign up if you like. And yeah, the speakers are just not good. You can connect headphones via Bluetooth, of course. Take a listen to the speakers and yeah, you can let me know in the comments what you think. Now, in terms of thickness, which matters in foldable phones, I have to say I am fine with it. It doesn't feel too thick at all, but when you see the numbers on paper, you're going to think, hold on, that seems really thick. It's 11.2 millimeters when folded, which again is far thicker than the Samsung Z Fold 7, the N6, the V6, the X Fold 5, but I don't know, it doesn't seem too thick. And then unfolded, it's 5.2 millimeters, which again is thicker than all the other larger foldable phones. It's quite simple, to be honest. Because it's so short and stout, it doesn't have like an extra inch up here. All the internals have to be crammed in. And simple physics would dictate you can only squeeze in so much before you start having to get a bit thicker, and that's all that's happened here. They've had to squeeze in the large battery that we'll talk about in a second, the chipset, the triple camera setup, all the other gubbins inside, and they've made it slightly thicker. I actually think 11 millimeters is a sweet spot for large format foldable phones because it means you can get better cameras in. 11 millimeters just has to be the case for a form factor like this because of all the internals I've just talked about. Now, another area which is a mixed bag of good and bad is the battery. It's 5300 milliamp hours. It charges wired at 66 watts and wireless at 50 watts. I'd say that's pretty good in a form factor like this for sure. But Unfortunately, it doesn't have a MediaTek chip inside. It doesn't have a Qualcomm chip inside. It does have a, I just have to say, inferior chipset. The Kirin chip inside, I think it's the 9300. GSM Arena doesn't actually talk about it, and I forgot to look it up again. I forgot. Now, you know me, I'm not a big gamer, so it doesn't impact me too much. I'm a social media user, I watch YouTube, I take photos and videos. That's it. No chipset these days is going to be strained by what I do with my phone. However, efficiency-wise, yeah, it feels like for the past year I've been saying, this is a 2-day phone. This will be a day and a half for you. The Pura X Max is a 1-day phone. Now, granted, it's a full day. You're still going to get like 6.5, 7 hours screen on time. But do not expect anything like what you can get from your typical Oppo N6, Samsung Z Fold 7 even. It just kind of shows what difference a chipset, a flagship chipset, because that Samsung, it's a 4400 milliamp hour cell. It's a bigger outer and inner screen, but because of the Elite Gen 5 chip inside, it's just more efficient. So yeah, battery wise, it's a full day phone, but no more than that. Now, I'm sorry again, Huawei fanboys, which I am one. You know me, I always have to keep it honest. So yeah, it can't all be glowing reviews for Huawei's. They have been smashing it over the past few years, as they always have done. But yeah, this Pura X Max so far just feels lacking for me. And unfortunately, now we're going to talk about software. The benefit of software is any downside from this phone and any Huawei device, it's not their fault. They're absolutely trying their best to work around any sanctions, bans, but there's only so much you can do. And while Easy Abroad is the best workaround I have found, especially now with Harmony OS 6.1, where you can move the apps to the home screen, you can use an app drawer. Yeah, it's just like using a normal phone, but it's not. It might be okay for a few days, but after 30 days, you're going to have to delete the Photos app and then reinstall it. For a random period of time, you may stop getting notifications on apps and then have to go in and re-enable all the permissions. And invariably, you will come across a app that you need for work or personal life that just won't work through Easy Abroad, that just doesn't sync with the Huawei. And for me, the biggest killer, no Gboard. Whatever I do, whatever you do, you will not get Gboard as your default keyboard on a Huawei device. And I'm confident about that. If somebody knows a workaround, please let me know in the comments. Now, you can install other keyboards. I'm not saying you can't. I think SwiftKey is an option, maybe one or two others. But as mentioned, Gboard just isn't. So that's a big deal breaker for me personally. Another deal breaker, not for me, but for you, might be the lack of eSIM support. Because, yes, it's a Huawei device. And the lack of 5G in some areas. Now, I keep saying there's no 5G on the device, but a lot of people correct me and say there are 5G. So I'm just going to say there might be 5G. You might get 5G speeds. I would check with your network provider if you're going to purchase a Huawei device in 2026. You will get 4G. You will definitely get 3G if your area still supports it. But yeah, I'm not convinced 5G is a thing. I know certainly in the UK, Huawei was banned from 5G, so I'm not sure why people are still saying you do get 5G. But yeah, I'll leave it as you might, just to cover myself. So now we get to the most important area of any smartphone for me, whether it be a foldable phone or not. It's the cameras. And I don't know what to say here. The cameras are fine. There you go. That summary. Cameras are fine. Quote, average dad, 2026. I expect, and maybe this is wrong of me, I expect so much more from Huawei cameras because that's what I'm used to. The Pura lineup, the Pura 90 Pro Max that I'll have a full review of on next week, cameras on that are just magnificent. The cameras on the foldable phone, the X5, X6, X7, very, very, very good, especially for a foldable device. But the cameras on this, it's a triple setup. A 50 megapixel main, which is 1/1.4 inch, so that's okay. A 50 megapixel telephoto, which I believe is near a half-inch sensor, does have 5 times optical zoom, but when the sensor size is small, yeah, that doesn't really make that big a difference. While the photos are still, look at them. They're fine. They're good in some cases. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being spoilt with what's available through other foldable phone these days with 200 megapixel larger sensors. The one big downside, both on paper and in reality, is the ultra-wide. I've just got so used to taking some really fantastic ultra-wide shots recently that I forgot what a mediocre ultra-wide photo looks like. And it's this. This is mediocre. No matter what phone I list off right now, other than the Huawei Mate X-T, is cheaper than the Huawei Pura X Max. And maybe that's why I'm being overly harsh to this device. Because price-wise, because you have to import from stores like the Average Dad Tech store, others are available, the price is anywhere from £1,700 to over £2,000 depending on your storage variant. And for the specifications inside, for the 3 weeks I've been using it, I don't quite see where £2,000 of value is coming. If you are in China or you're going to China, you will be able to pick it up cheaper if they have stock. They are selling really well in China. I think the equivalent UK GBP price is like £1,200. So I guess if there was a price that I would be less harsh at, so I guess if there was a price that it could be sold at where I'd be less harsh on Huawei, I guess it would be £1,200 imported. Then I'd be happy. I'd be like, yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, £1,700 to £2,000 is just too much. So there we have it. The Huawei Pura X Max. While not a complete flop, certainly not a complete success either, it's just meh, somewhere in the middle, fine. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments, especially if you own one of these devices. I know a few people that own them from my Huawei group, and I know they are loving their device. I wonder if there's a bias involved there though, because I know they have other devices from Huawei that are maybe more fit for purpose. Anyway, that's been all for this review. I will be back soon with a full review of the Oppo X9 Ultra and the Huawei Pura 90 Pro Max. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for hitting subscribe. If you haven't already, please smash it. We are getting so close to the 100k subscribers. Until next time,